It started with silence, thick, heavy, and far too familiar. Not the comforting kind, but the kind that reminded you two people could live under the same roof and feel galaxies apart. We didn't fight anymore. We didn't talk much either. Every conversation had turned into logistics. Bills, groceries, schedules. I couldn't remember the last time we touched with intention, let alone desire. Nights blurred into each other, cold shoulders and turned backs, and I stopped trying to count how many times I reached out only to be met with a shrug, a sigh, or worse, indifference. I used to believe we were just going through a phase that real love matured into comfort. But comfort shouldn't feel like absence. I started noticing things. His phone always face down, messages cleared. A password suddenly added. I tried to ignore it, but the unease dug in, not because I thought he was cheating, but because it meant he no longer trusted me. Or maybe he just didn't care if I did. And the irony? I wasn't looking for someone else. I wasn't out there seeking a replacement. I just wanted him to see me again, to look at me the way he used to when I walked into the room. But that gaze had died long ago. There were nights I stood in front of the mirror, not looking for flaws, but for proof that I still existed. I dressed up once, wore the perfume he used to like. He barely looked up from his screen. That was the night it truly hit me. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was numb. And that numbness scared me more than heartbreak ever could. I wasn't planning anything when I went out that night. It wasn't even supposed to be anything but an escape from the walls that had begun to feel like a cage. One drink turned into two. Laughter at the bar felt foreign on my lips, but good. It wasn't about flirting. It wasn't about looking. It was about remembering what it felt like to be present, to be noticed. When someone asked me a question and actually listened to the answer, it felt surreal. He wasn't pushy. He wasn't anything specific, really, just attentive, curious, bold without being arrogant. He looked at me like I was something to be desired, not a burden to be tolerated. It's strange how quickly vulnerability can turn into temptation. All it takes is one moment, one glance that lasts a second too long, one touch that lingers. I told myself it was harmless, just talk, just validation. But beneath that was a truth I wasn't ready to admit. I was starving. Not just for sex, but for intimacy, for honesty, for connection. And in that bar, under dim lights and casual conversation, someone gave me that without asking for anything in return. On the way home, my chest felt tight, not from guilt but from clarity. I realized I'd been lonely in my own home for longer than I could remember. I hadn't cheated, not yet. But something had already broken. Something sacred had already shifted. The line wasn't physical, it was emotional. And I had crossed it the moment I felt more alive with a stranger than I had in my own bed in years. I looked at my phone when I got home. No missed calls. No texts. He hadn't even noticed I was gone.